Yo, what up, everybody? So listen, we're going to do a prediction video for UFC Fight Night Vegas. Manel Kape versus Brandon Royval. That's happening this weekend. It's the last fight card of the ESPN era of the year. It's the last fight card of the year. And it is also the last fight card for the next 6 weeks. We have no fight cards for the next 6 weeks. God help us. So listen, big card because this specific fight is has a lot of, it's a very meaningful fight. So depending on what happens here, we can see a very, very interesting matchup in Manel Kape versus Joshua Van potentially down the line. That's a matchup that I think is going to be really big for the division, and it's going to it's going to be like epic in my opinion. Also, there's a lot of contenders on this card that are coming up, a lot of prospects that are coming up that I do think are trying to fight their way into the top 15. And so a lot of these fights are meaningful on this card, even though this is not the most groundbreaking card as far as name value is concerned. I do think that a lot of these fights are meaningful, and they will have a lot to say with how 2026 goes. We're going to jump right into it. Manel Kape versus Brandon Royval. Brandon Royval, very, very good fighter. He's been at the top of the division for a very long time. He's what Max Holloway was to Volkanovski. Obviously, we saw Max Holloway beat everybody but Volk. Brandon Royval seems to beat everybody but Pantoja and Van. So now Van is a champ. Okay, Manel Kape has been on a guy that's kind of ran into a lot of issues. He breaks his foot versus Muhammad Mokaev. He misses weight like 4 different times. He's just had all these different things happen that's kind of hindered his ability to get into the octagon. Because in my opinion, Manel Kape is very clearly one of the better fighters in the division. I think he's one of the few that can give, not few, let me not say few, but he's one of the guys that can give Joshua Van a real problem. Like, that fight would be so crazy, so epic in my opinion. The speed of Kape versus the calculated precision boxing of Joshua Van, the fast hands of Joshua Van, the countering ability of Joshua Van. It would be insane to watch that fight, in my opinion. So, yeah, no, I just think that this is a big, big fight, man. And we're going to jump right into it. We're going to start with the main event, and we're going to go all the way down to the prelims. We're going to go to start with talking about Brandon Royval like I was before. I think that with him coming off of that loss to Van, before that, epic fight versus Tatsuro Taira, who's next in line. Epic fight, which he won. And honestly, versus Van, if he didn't get dropped in that last 30 seconds of that fight, he wins that fight in my opinion. So this is a big bounce back fight for him. If he's able to win this fight, I mean, he's beat some guys. Tatsuro Taira, he has a win over. A very insane war, like one of the best fights ever versus Joshua Van. Obviously, we saw him fight Morono twice and beat him in the last fight. You know what I mean? Brandon Royval, he's fought the champion twice, or the old ex-champion, Pantoja, twice. So he has been a mainstay at the top 5 for a very, very long time. I don't think he beats Manel Kape. I think Manel Kape is going to be too fast too early, too powerful too early, too elusive too early. Because again, listen, if it's a 5-round fight, so the longer the fight goes, the more it's in favor of Royval. But I think early, when Manel Kape's explosive, fast, I think he's going to hit Brandon Royval often. He thinks he's going to hurt him. I think that Manel Kape is going to be a little too fast. Brandon Royval, even though he loves those feints, he's constantly fading. I don't think it's going to work as well because of the speed of Manel Kape. Manel Kape doesn't have cardio issues, so it's not like we've seen Manel Kape fall off a cliff and slow down in fights. You know what I mean? I think he's going to maintain his speed as the fight goes on. I don't think he's going to knock out Brandon Royval. I think Brandon Royval is a little too tough for that, but I do think that he's going to win 3 of the 5 rounds. I do think that, maybe he'll probably steal the 4th or the 5th round, where Brandon Royval is building momentum in the 3rd or something like that. And he wins. Brandon Royval wins the 3rd, and I think Manel Kape wins either the 4th or the 5th, but Brandon Royval wins the other. So I just think that that's how this fight's going to play out. We're going to see Brandon Royval's kind of just that grittiness as he takes some shots. I just think Manel Kape's just a little too fast. He's a little too swift. He's a little too good with the counters. We saw what he did to Bruno Silva. We saw what he did to Asua Mabayev. He's a little too slick with the counters, in my opinion. I think that the counters are going to be there versus the Brandon Royval. I don't think either man is going to attempt grappling. I mean, Brandon Royval could, but Manel Kape has a great takedown defense. I don't think Brandon Royval will be able to get a takedown on him. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lean Manel Kape on this one. I think Manel Kape is a little dangerous. He's powerful. He's going to have the more significant strikes. As far as where damage is going to be on his side, I think, in my opinion. And this will be a great fight. Don't get me wrong. This will be definitely a fight to watch. It'll be a fun fight. I just think that Manel Kape, it's his time to kind of finally get a title shot. Now, he wins this fight. There may be a potential that he needs another one, but I don't think so. I mean, this would be a 3-fight win streak. 2 of the 3 were, if he doesn't knock out Brandon Royval, 2 of his last 3 would have been by knockout. I know there were those 2 fights that his last 2 wins were controversial. There's some controversy, but I just can't see him losing. No, what did I do here? I just can't see him losing this fight, Sorry, my camera went on stream for a split second, so I said no. Yeah, so I think Brandon Royval is going to win, man. I just think, or Manel Kape's going to win. I'm sorry. I think Manel Kape's going to win. I think he's going to just land the more significant strikes. I just think he's going to be too fast and swift for Brandon Royval. On to the next, we got Kevin Vallejos versus Giga. Giga, man. So David Onama beats him. Hurt him in the fight. Versus Giga, versus Arnold Allen, he looks good early. And then as the fight, gas tank isn't there, and we know Kevin Vallejos has a gas tank. We saw Kevin Vallejos go tooth and nail versus Danny Silva. That was a great fight, unanimous decision. Kevin Vallejos, I thought, won every round. Maybe it was one round that Danny Silva won. I can't remember, probably because Danny Silva is also very good. But we've also seen Kevin Vallejos fight a Gene Silva, and Gene Silva is no joke. Gene Silva is not. Listen, I don't care that Diego Lopez beat Gene Silva. I still think Gene Silva will be the champion in this division at some point. At some point, we will see Gene Silva as the champion. He's very, very good, and this guy Kevin Vallejos was able to stay in there with him, and last 3 rounds with him without getting knocked out brutally, and without really taking crazy damage like that. It wasn't a crazy fight in the way of like someone getting rocked all over the place and one guy being way more dominant than the other guy. It was just a pretty, obvious Gene Silva unanimous decision win, or split decision. I can't remember which one it was, but it was obviously a Gene Silva win. So, Kevin Vallejos is good. He's a great prospect. He's fighting to get into that top 15. I do think that he beats Chikadze. He may knock him out, to be honest. I'm going to say knockout. I'm going to say late second round knockout. Kevin Vallejos has power, serious power. And I just think that Giga's on the downward slope. Giga fights like once a year, literally like once a year. If you look at his resume, the last 3 fights were, 2024 was the last time he fought. Then before that was 2023. Then, you know what I mean? So he's not fighting. He's not active. And he's on a downward slide. He's not what he once was. I do think that Kevin Vallejos gets him out there late second round. KO. On to the next one. Cezary Almeida versus Cezary Oleksiejczuk. So Cesar Almeida versus Cezary Oleksiejczuk. Cezary Oleksiejczuk is powerful. He's like 16-3, which is crazy. He's now transitioning to the UFCs. It's Alexander Oleksiejczuk's brother. Now both of them have power, that legendary Polish power. But I think Alexander Oleksiejczuk hits a little harder. I think Cezary Oleksiejczuk is a little more athletic. I think he is a little bit more well-rounded, I would say. Alexander relies heavily on that the striking, but we know Cezary, he has a little bit of grappling ability as well. So I do think that Cesar Almeida is a little bit too early, too soon though. Like, why give him Cesar Almeida? Listen, I'm not saying Cesar Almeida is this world beater, but Cesar Almeida, right? He's what, 3? He's won. He's won 3 of his last 4, right? So Cesar Almeida, I'm drawing a blank on who he fought last. Abdul Al-Hassan. Yeah, Abdul Al-Hassan. He fought last. Ihor Pateria, who's not good at all. Roman Kopylov, he hurt badly. Roman Kopylov had to resort to wrestling to beat him, okay? And he hurt Roman Kopylov quite a few times in that comp. Dylan Budka should never have been in the UFC in the first place. Yeah, so I think that Cesar Almeida is just a little too much too soon for Cesary Almeida. I don't know why they would give him. I mean, I'm not saying he can't win, right? I'm not saying he can't win, but he's coming over from another promotion. Cesar Almeida is a very experienced guy, and so is Cezary, but not against UFC competition. So, you'd think they would give him a little bit lesser competition maybe first, and then a Cesar Almeida would be like a good second fight. It's very interesting, very interesting. And Cesar Almeida, I know he's older, right? He's like 12 years older than Cezary. Cezary's very young too. He's 25 years old. He has a lot of potential, man. Cezary could be very good. I mean, he couldn't go in here and wash Cesar Almeida. I just don't think it's going to happen. Cesar Almeida is very powerful. He's a great striker, great kickboxer. I think he's going to hurt Cezary. I think he's going to put Cezary away, late second round, early third. I just think that he's going to catch him with something. While Cezary is very, very good lateral movement. He's very athletic from what I've watched. I just don't think this is a good first fight for Cezary. This is a bad move by bad matchmaking, I think. I think they should have given him a little bit lesser competition first. And Cesar Almeida, like I said, he's 36. Now, 37 actually. And the thing with Cesar Almeida is that he's won 3 of his last 4. So he lost to Roman Kopylov, Abdul Rakasan, he KOs. When is he going to get some higher level competition maybe? I mean, he's looked good. Roman Kopylov, when even in that loss, he looked good. He hurt Roman Kopylov. So it's just interesting, obviously he's not going to be Alex Pereira or anything like that, but coming over from kickboxing, but just interesting. On to the next. We got Melquizael. I always struggle saying this guy's name. Melquizael. It's Melquizael. But so a lot of people say Ezekiel. It's Melquizael Costa versus Morgan Charriere. Now, Morgan Charriere, since he's coming to the UFC, he had that great fight against Chepe Mariscal, which I thought he arguably won. Nathaniel Wood, beat him kind of unanimously. Everybody thought that he won that fight. He knocks out Nate Landwehr, but was losing before he knocked Nate Landwehr out. So it's like Morgan Charriere, in my opinion, he's one of those guys. He's like a Jalen Turner, man. He's like one of those guys that have all of the potential in the world, but just cannot capitalize on his abilities. Just cannot capitalize on his abilities. And it's honestly too bad because, coming into the UFC, I really had high hopes. And especially when I saw him fight Chepe, I was like, okay, this guy's about to be real good, dude. Real good, man. And he just hasn't lived up to the he's 2-2 in the UFC. So I'm not saying he's a bum, but, you got Melquizael. Costa is beating guys like D-Rod, Andre Fili in the first round sub. You know what I'm saying? He's beating these he's beating some pretty good competition. He's on a 4-fight win streak. I think he beat some Morgan Charriere. We just started talking about Ezekiel Costa. I am gonna pick him to win. I think he's just gonna do enough to beat. It's gonna be similar to the D-Rod fight, where he's just gonna be a little bit faster and a little bit better in the striking department. I don't think this is gonna go to the ground. Where if it does, he's got jiu-jitsu ability as well. So I don't think that Morgan Charriere is gonna be in a rush to take the fight to the ground. I'm gonna pick Melquizael Costa here, Ezekiel Costa. I just think that Morgan Charriere has not lived up to the hype, man. And I need him to start performing, But I got Ezekiel Costa, Melquizael Costa here. Okay, Canadians and Nzechukwu. Walter Walker ripped his heel out of place very, very quickly, almost immediately into the fight. Before that, he beats Chris Barnett. He beats some other fat shit cat, at heavyweight. Now, listen, Canadian Nzechukwu has a lot of power, but I don't think he has the ability to stop takedowns or to fight off submissions. He just doesn't know what to do. That's not his world. And now he's fighting a guy who literally his world is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's a multiple-time champion in Marcus Buchecha. Martin Buday was able to beat Marcus Buchecha. And because Martin Buday is no longer in the UFC. Martin Buday was stuffing takedowns after a while. Marcus Buchecha, the problem was that he just got tired. He was spamming takedowns, and at heavyweight you can only do but so much with that. So Marcus Almeida, if he isn't able to get Kennedy Nzechukwu down early and control him, I will be worried. But I just think he's gonna be able to get him down, and I think he's gonna be able to submit him. Yeah, he's gonna grab onto one of his long limbs, and he's gonna get some sort of submission. I could see like an arm triangle, or like a arm bar, or like a something where he grabs one of his limbs. He utilizes one of his limbs to finish the fight. Kennedy Nzechukwu has a 82.5 or 83-inch reach. Marcus Almeida also has a long reach at 77.5. But Kennedy Nzechukwu could catch him on the feet and knock him out. I don't think that's what's gonna happen here, guys. I think that we're gonna see Marcus Almeida get a submission. We saw Kennedy Nzechukwu struggle versus a grappling specialist in his last fight, and I think he's gonna struggle versus another grappling specialist in this fight. Hopefully Marcus Buchecha doesn't just burn himself out early, and he gives himself a chance to kind of, go to distance if we have to, because we saw him gas badly versus Martin Buday. Martin Buday is a fat shit cat. He's fat, and if anyone should have been gassing. If you look at Marcus Buchecha Almeida, the guy looks like, he shouldn't be. He looks in incredible shape. And Martin Buday looks like he's not in incredible shape. So the fact that Martin Buday was the one who had better cardio is insane. So Marcus Buchecha Almeida lost his debut. I think he'll win his second fight. On to the next. We got Bobby Green. We got Bobby Green versus Lance Gibson Jr. Now, Lance Gibson Jr., I just think he's too green. I don't see him coming. He doesn't have UFC experience. I mean, what promotion was it that he fought in again? What was it? Excite Fight promotion, Muckleshoot Fight Night. He in his last two he won by a rear naked choke. He did fight in Bellator, but he lost by KO. So I'm just not impressed with them enough to pick him over a Bobby Green, who has a world of experience, who's good on the feet, who has good takedown defense. I think is going to be able to be in his element, in his get into his flow state, that flow state that we love, where he's talking to you, he's rolling with punches. Now, Lance Green does have some KO power. Now, I don't think he has quite like a Jalen Turner KO power or Mauricio Huffy KO power to sleep King Green badly like they did, but I do think he has enough power to where he touches King Green, Bobby Green. He may put him away because, it seems like anything can knock out Bobby Green these days, anything. He's been knocked out quite a bit lately, and even versus Paddy Pimblett, where he got strangled half to death. He was getting absolutely destroyed on the feet. His legs were getting destroyed, and he got strangled almost to death. He went to sleep. So it's either he's going to sleep or he's getting KO'd. So it's not been a good run for King Green, Bobby Green over the last couple of years. It's looked kind of rough, to be honest. So. But I do think that this is a fight where it's a guy that's not had the level of experience of a Bobby Green, hasn't fought anybody that beat to the caliber of a guy that's beaten a Bobby Green, and I think that that's what's gonna save Bobby Green here is his experience. He's going to do what he has to do to get this guy out of here, man. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and say King Green by decision in this one. I hope so, man, because listen. I'm not saying I'm the biggest Bobby Green, King Green fan. I mean, his personality is kind of cringe, but, it's King Green, man. It's Bobby Green, I don't even know what I'm talking about there, but he's not one of my favorite fighters, but he's been in the UFC so long, and just, I'm rooting for him, man. I'm rooting for him, I guess is what I'm trying to say. We got Gillian Robertson versus Amanda Lemos. Now, Amanda Lemos is powerful. She looks like she's improved her grappling. Versus Tatiana Suarez, she was stuffing takedowns, which is impressive. She beat Eisman Luciendo. And she has power. So if she can keep this fight on the feet, Gillian Robertson is going to be in trouble, which I think she's going to be. I don't think Gillian's going to beat Amanda Lemos. I cannot pick her to beat her. Even though if the fight goes to the ground, she ground and pounded what's her name? Rodriguez. Marina Rodriguez. She ground and pound KO her in her last fight. Pinheiro. She beat Pinheiro. She beat Michelle Waterson. You know, Amanda Lemos is just fighting way better levels of competition. This fight, I mean, honestly, this fight's kind of just whatever. I think Amanda Lemos is going to knock her out pretty much. The fight, she's going to keep the fight standing. I think Amanda Lemos is going to knock her out. That's what I think is going to happen. So, yeah, I mean, there's not much more to say to it than that. Gillian Robertson, she's all right. She's very good on the ground, though. If the fight goes to the ground, I would be terrified if I was Amanda Lemos. She's very good on the ground. Very good positionally. She's positionally aware, and when she gets to her spots, she flows very well with scrambles as well, so you're not going to just escape. You're not just going to Granby roll. You're not just going to buck out. You're not just going to, frame out and sweep her or things. You're not doing those things. She's attached to you like glue. She's literally an anaconda when she gets you to the ground. If the fight goes to the ground and I'm Amanda Lemos, I'm very worried. Okay? So, but I don't think it's going to go to the ground. I think Amanda Lemos has worked on her takedown defense enough, her grappling enough to be able to stuff Gillian Robertson's takedown. I don't think Gillian Robertson's takedowns are good. I think her ground game is good. So if the fight does go to the ground, I think she has success. But the fight has to go to the ground first, if that makes sense. On to the next, we got Joanderson Brito. I like saying his name like that. No homo. Joanderson Brito. Joanderson Brito versus Isaac Newton. Listen, Isaac, he fought in the LFA. First of all, I think he's like 2-2 in his last like 4, I think. All right? He's 9-2. He fought in the LFA. He's on Team Alpha Male. Dorian Ramos, I watched that fight. Picks him up in the air, slams him, and KOs him, by the way. KOs him. Okay? So that wasn't a good look. Like, Dorian Ramos is not UFC. Like, Joanderson Brito is beating this guy's ass. And so this is what I'm saying. I don't understand the Isaac Thomson signing. This is like a guy that's lost like I think he's like 3-1 in his last 4, but he's lost 2 fights recently, very recently. And then the Dorian Ramos fight, he got dominated, picked up, slammed, and Joanderson Brito has the ability to do that, right? Joanderson Brito is not like a takedown artist or anything like that, but Joanderson Brito will take you down. He's very powerful. He's very strong. He has also not lived up to the hype. You know, when he first came, he was, he was knocking guys out badly. You know what I mean? He was knocking guys out badly, but since the days of, the Jack Shores, where he was, I think that's the guy he beat by cutting his like shin or something weird like that. But the Wilson win, God, what was his name? He knocked out Weston Wilson brutally. But who hasn't? You know what I mean? Who hasn't? William Gomez is beating him. Pat Sabatini is beating him. So he's on a 2-fight skid. He's just not looking as good lately, where I thought him coming in, he has a win over Diego Lopez, which is why him coming in, you saw immediately he's very athletic, very strong, very powerful, very, very gritty. But, William Gomez is beating you. Pat Sabatini. It's like you should be getting these guys out of here, And so Isaac Thomson, though, I just don't think is anywhere the caliber to beat Joanderson Brito. Like, I know I was just talking about Joanderson Brito as he's not lived up to his potential, but versus Isaac Thomson, I'm not worried. This guy is not, like, he's good, but he's not anything special. You know what I mean? I don't see where he's anything special based on the fight that I've watched, on his record, how he's performed over the last couple of years. I don't see where he's anything that special. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna go ahead and pick Joanderson Brito by brutal 2nd round KO. I think he's gonna get back to, not say get back to form, but I do think that Joanderson Brito will get a finish here and kind of get back on his winning ways and different things like that. We got Yaroslav Almasov. Yaroslav Almasov versus Neil Magny. This is a very difficult fight because obviously Neil Magny is the fucking GOAT of the division. You understand that? He's the GOAT of the division. It's not George St. Pierre. Do you understand me? Let me repeat that again. Okay? He's the GOAT of the division. Guys like Jake Matthews, he shouldn't be. Bye. Enjoy. Have fun. Guys like Jake Matthews. He should have lost to Jake Matthews. You know, I'm picking Jake Matthews to win that fight. Ezekiel dos Santos is a great win. Great win. Listen, we know Neil Magny is seeing, you know, Carlos Prates of the world, the Marlon Morales of the world. I mean, he's going to lose to those guys. The Ian Garys of the world. He's going to lose to those guys. Like, he's going to lose to those guys. But just how good is Yaroslav Amorsov? We're about to find out. I'm going to pick Neil Magny here because I don't like Yaroslav. Let me tell you something about this guy. He went on a 27 fight win streak. I don't care. A lot of those were in Bellator. It's impressive. It's impressive. It really is. But my thing is, they're not UFC caliber, bro. You know what I'm saying? They're not UFC caliber, bro. This is a very, very hard fight to pick because I can understand going Yaroslav Amosov. I can understand going that route and picking him because he was a champion of Bellator. He was, you know what I mean? Very, very, very good everywhere. Well-rounded, powerful, great grappling ability, submission ability. He's good everywhere, but I need to see it in the UFC. I'm not picking him to beat someone like a Neil Magny, who we've seen weather the storm. We've seen look like he was Jake Matthews was doing a number on him, and he comes out and wins the fight. I mean. So I'm going to go ahead and pick Neil Magny. I'm going to say Neil Magny just is going to get like a submission. And, man. Third round sub. Neil Magny. Very, very tough to pick, man. Because, again, like I said, I could be very wrong. But Neil Magny's my GOAT, man. He's my GOAT. He's my GOAT, okay? My GOAT. So I'm going to go ahead and pick Neil Magny by third round submission. I'm very, very weary of this and scared. And probably will be wrong. But Neil Magny has a way of, when I am sure that I'm right, I am so sure that I'm right, he proves me wrong every time. So I'm going to pick Neil Magny here, and you're not going to prove me. You're not going to me this time, Neil Magny. I don't care if I'm wrong. You know what? This is a hit. This is a slide at Neil Magny here. I don't care if I'm wrong. You're not about to get one over on me again. So either I'm wrong or I'm right. How about that shit, bitch? And I'm not going to be wrong on your watch. I'm going to be wrong on my watch. So that means I'm going to pick with for you. Like I'm going to say you're going to win because you're not about to make me look bad again. Okay? So on to the next one. We got Sean Sheriff versus Steven Aspluno. Now Sean Sheriff is a fat shit cat. I watched him versus one of the Taffa brothers, and I kid you not. I think it was Junior Taffa. Seriously, go back and watch that fight. I'm not kidding. Go back and watch that fight. They were so exhausted after the first fucking round. They were literally unable to lift their hands and throw punches. I'm not joking. They were literally so tired that they were standing in the middle of the octagon looking at each other, just afraid of, like, not afraid, but just unable to throw punches. That is a disgusting display of what a professional athlete should be. I was sitting there looking at the TV and I was just like, this can't be possible. No. This can't be real. But it was real. I'm not yo, go back. Just go back to the Junior Taffa versus Sean Sheriff fight and go to the second round and go like midway through the second round. You will see them standing in front of each other, unable to throw punches. I mean, it was insane. Now, I'm going to pick him to win because this guy, Steven Aspluno, is a fat fucking shit cat. He's fat as fuck. I watched him fight, and some guy just tipped him over, and he fell and was unable to, like, defend himself. He was getting dominated on the ground until he just weathered the storm. The guy got tired, and he gets up and wins. I can't remember the name of the guy. It was some bum promotion. I don't care. Sean Sheriff should knock him out. He should knock him out. Okay? If it goes outside the first round, then immediately switch your pick to this other guy. Because Sean Sheriff literally was standing in front of Junior Taffa, unable to lift his arms to defend or throw a punch. Literally. I am not joking. A professional athlete. Okay? On to the next. Sean Sheriff, first round KO. If it goes outside the first round, immediately switch to the other guy. Just immediately switch. Melissa Croden versus Luana Santos. Luana Santos is not very good. Melissa Croden is a man of a woman. She's built different. She's brick house. Very strong woman. I mean, she's Nothing to slouch at. You know what I'm saying? Very, very, very strong woman. She beat by KO. She KO'd Tainara Lisboa. She KO'd Tainara Lisboa in the third round, where she was getting kind of touched up early, but just what seems to be like got pissed off and just finishes Tainara Lisboa. I think the same thing's gonna happen in this fight, but just much earlier. Melissa Cordon's very powerful. She's a good grappler. I just think she's gonna get Luana Santos out of there early. Luana Santos is I don't see her surviving this. Okay, so I'm gonna go with Melissa Cordon early. On to the next one. Alan Fire versus Gulherme Pat. Now both of these guys. Listen, Gulherme Pat is he's 6'5", 5-0. He has an 82-inch reach. Alan Fry is 6-0, 6'4" with the 81-inch reach. Listen, both these guys have dominated their opposition, but the thing is, they're not fighting like anybody special. These are promotions that like they're not fighting anyone special. Okay, this is the first time, and I just think that the more impressive looking one is Gulherme Pat. He looks much more athletic. He moves much better. He's rangier. He looks like he loses his range better in his fights. Alan Fry is just kind of like a push forward guy, brute. In a sense, I think that Gulherme is just a lot more technical. I think he'll be able to use his weapons better, his length, pause better to kind of take Alan Fry down and get the win here. I'm gonna pick Gulherme Pat by first round KO. I think that's what we should see. Teresa Bleda versus Jamey-Lyn Horth. I think Teresa Bleda gets tired immediately in fights. She goes for a take. Natalia Silva beat the fuck out of her after she got tired. After the first round, she got tired, and Natalia Silva beat the fuck out of her. Same thing with she beat actually Gabriel Fernandez is a fucking good win. Actually, let me walk back here. That's a great win. The thing about it is she's one dimensional, man. Jamey-Lyn Horth's not good either. But Jamey-Lyn Horth has good takedown defense. So versus Miranda Maverick, Jamey-Lyn Horth was giving her hell, man. It was hard for her to take her down. She actually hurt Miranda Maverick in that fight. I'm gonna go ahead and pick Jamey-Lyn Horth here, but man, that Gabriel Fernandez win is really good. It's aging well for Teresa Bleda. It's really aging well. But I'm picking Jamey-Lyn Horth to stuff the takedowns and piece her up on the feet. Not that Jamey-Lyn Horth is anything special on the feet. Teresa Bleda is just terrible on the feet. Has no striking ability whatsoever. It's your boy. Like, comment, subscribe, bell icon. All until next time. Deuces and fries and pizza and all that stuff, We will see you next year. I'm joking. I'm going to be making some other videos and stuff like that. I'm making some videos, other content while we sit through these next couple weeks. We'll break down a lot of the fights that are coming up next year. So we have some things that are in the works. So just stay tuned. We got some content coming. Until next time.